today's class, we are going to learn a heart-touching story from the unit Family. Part A is the tattered blanket. What do you mean the tattered? Tattered means torn. Probably, why do we say why the blanket is tattered? Why a blanket is torn? Yes, for it is overuse. For it is overuse beyond its limit. So the tattered is torn. But here, what is the blanket? Why the title is given? And actually, the brief introduction of the story is, in this lesson, the family relations broken. The family relations broken. Before we are going to see the lesson, we must know about the author first. The Tattered Blanket is written by Kamala Das, a Malayalam poetess. This lesson was translated from Malayalam by K.M. Sharif. Let's look into the poet, about the poet first. Kamala Das was born in 1932 and passed away in 2009. By this we can say Kamala Das is a modern poetess. She is the daughter of the famous Malayalam poet Balamani Amma and B.M. Nair are the parents of Kamala Das. She is an internationally known poet, short story writer and novelist who writes effortlessly both in English and Malayalam. She has received many awards for her literary work. Some of them are Asian Poetry Prize, Kent Award for English Writing from Asian Countries, Asian World Prize, Sahitya Academy Award, and Weiler Ramavarma Sahitya Award. These are the awards received by the poetess Kamala Das. This is about the brief history about the writer Kamala Das. Let's move on to the lesson. Before we are going to see the lesson, we should know about the characters. Yes, this is a heart-touching story. Already I told you. The story deals with a broken family relationships. But the title is Tattered Blanket, but broken relationships. The story is explained. Broken relationships. Here, a literary device symbolize is used. The title, The Tattered Blanket, symbolizes to the broken relationships of the family. And in that, the hero Gopi lived in Delhi with his wife and his 4 children. And his widowed elder sister Kamala and 83-year-old mother lived in a small village. Gopi came to his village to a gap of after 5 years. Mother couldn't identify her son Gopi as she lost her memory. Yes, let's move on to the story, The Tattered Blanket. Why Gopi arrives to his parents, to his own place, to his village. And finally what happened we will see in the lesson. The Tattered Blanket, written by Kamala Das. Kamala Das is known as Madhavi Kutti. Okay, now let us see the lesson. When he arrived unexpectedly at his home in the countryside means village. Arrived means reached or came. When he refers to Gopi. Gopi reached his village at his home in the countryside in his office car. How did he arrive? In his office car, and got down at the gate. Gopi got down at his gate of his house. His mother, who was lying in an armchair on the veranda. Where was his mother? In an armchair. Because of her old age, she lay down in an armchair. Made a futile attempt to get up. Futile means unsuccessful. She couldn't get up in that chair, from that chair, because of her old age, because of her weakness. She couldn't get up quickly from the chair. Kamala, there is somebody at the gate, she said. Somebody is in a car. Here, by this we can say her recognition is good. Now, she called her daughter with her name, Kamala, clearly, and she couldn't recognize who somebody came to her house. And she told her daughter to see who has come to her house. Kamala, her eldest daughter, a widow, who was sitting huddled up on the tinna on the veranda. Here we can see a noun phrase in apposition. Who is the eldest daughter? Kamala. Whose eldest daughter? Amma's eldest daughter. And what is the other qualification given here? She is a widow. Means she lost her husband. Who was sitting huddled up. Huddled means held arms and legs close because of fear or cold. Here, according to this lesson, because of cold, she sit in the veranda and close her arms and legs very near to her. On the tinna, tinna means a sit up in the veranda. Her head and ears covered with a thin bath towel. She covered her head and ears also with a thin bath towel and got up reluctantly. Reluctantly means not willing to do something, or unwillingly. Okay, and Kamala got up to see who has come to her house. Walked slowly to the gate and screwing up her eyes. Screwing up her eyes means narrowing the eyes to look more carefully towards the darkness. Sometimes when you want to see anything in the darkness, we have to keep our eyes very narrowing, and like this, narrowing. We keep our eyes like that. That is called screwing up eyes. Here, Kamala screwing up her eyes to see who has come to their house in the darkness. In the darkness, we cannot see the things very clearly. Because of that, she screwed up her eyes. Then she observed someone has come. Who is that? She saw a bald, fat, middle-aged man. Bald, fat, middle-aged man. Means here noun phrase we can observe. Who is that man? A bald. Bald means partly lacking hair. Partly lacking hair. A fat. The man was somewhat fat, and middle-aged man walking in through the gate. Yes. Kamala saw a bald, fat, middle-aged man walking in through the gate. Middle-aged means between 45 and 60 years age, we can say middle-aged. Who is the middle-aged man? Gopi. And unexpectedly, expected opposite, unexpected. Here, what did Kamala talk to him? "Oh, Gopi," she said in her grating voice. Grating means a loud voice, which is unpleasant to listen. "Why this sudden unexpected visit?" She questioned him why that sudden unexpected visit to that village. Because where does he live? He lives in Delhi. So, when did he come to their house? We will see. "Kamala, who is it?" her mother asked loudly from the veranda. Her mother questioned Kamala who was there at the gate. "Gopi," the man said. "There was a meeting in Thiruvananthapuram. I just dropped my way back." Here, for the question, Kamala's mother's question, Gopi replied that he was Gopi. And why did he come there? On the way that he was attending the meeting in Thiruvananthapuram. Who, Kamala? Who is it? There was a note of alarm in Amma's voice. By this we could say Amma could not recognize her son Gopi. Alarm in Amma's voice. She's scared about the stranger. Some stranger has come to their house as if. "Amma, why are you so scared, Kamala?" Gopi's elder sister asked her awkwardly. Awkwardly means embarrassingly. And she asked her mother why she was so scared, so feared about the man who has come to their house. As if you are seeing Gopi for the first time. She asked her mother that as if she were seeing her son Gopi, that was the first time. Is that the first time? No. Since childhood she knew her son. She has known her son. But because of her old age, she couldn't notice him. And awkwardly, difficulty or hard to do or do with. And here, Amma, it's me, Gopi, he said again. Gopi again replied to his mother that he was Gopi. He bent down and brought his face close to her wrinkled cheeks. He bent down. Gopi bent down towards to his mother's face and close to her wrinkled face. He kept his face very close to his mother. Wrinkled face. Wrinkled means the skin that became old. Amma, it's me. Again he said that he was Gopi. Gopi? Kamala, I can't believe it. Has his school closed for vacation? By this we could understand she lost her memory. In front of her son Gopi was there. Even though she said about his childhood days, about Gopi's childhood, whether his school closed for vacation, for holidays, she asked her daughter Kamala. That is her memory. Amma is often like this. These days, often means frequently. She doesn't recognize anybody. She doesn't remember. Here, recognize, notice or remember. She doesn't remember anybody. Gopi's sister explained. But sometimes her memory is quite sharp. Sometimes her mother's memory is quite sharp, completely very active. she could notice very clearly. Sometimes, not always. Then she asks me, if you have any letter from Gopi, I tell her everything is fine with you. She asks any letters are from Gopi, her son. Then Kamala replied her that everything was okay, everything was fine with Gopi. You refers to Gopi, Vimala, and the kids. Who is Vimala? The wife of Gopi and his children. What is the point telling her that you haven't written for a year? So she said to her brother Gopi that he was not writing a letter. How long? For a year. Poor thing. What a pity. See how pity thing. How poor thing it is. A son, a responsible son, hasn't been writing a letter to his mother for a year. How responsible he is. We can understand. I wouldn't dream of making her unhappy. Kamala, I refers to Kamala, that she would not making her mother unhappy. She used to tell lies with her that her brother was writing letters to her mother. Is it true? No. Yes. Let us see now how Gopi's mother memory not constantly, and she cannot sometimes she could remember, sometimes she cannot identify, she cannot recognize anyone or anything. Sometimes her listening power also not proper. We can see how the writer described about Gopi's mother's memory. I got a promotion last year. After that, I am always on my toes. On toes is an idiomatic expression. It means very busy. Who is I refers to Gopi. He was giving an explanation to his sister Kamala why he was not writing letters for a year. He has not been writing letter to his mother. He says some excuses why he couldn't write. That he had gotten promotion the previous year. After that, he was always very busy. Why he was very busy? Let us see. And there are quite often I don't get any time to write letters. Very frequently he was very busy. That's why he did not have enough time to write letters to his mother. Why don't you ask Vimala to write? Or doesn't she get any time to? Kamala asked her brother Gopi why his wife Vimala not writing letters to her mother. She questioned him that Vimala also had not get any time to write letter to her mother. What are you mumbling over here, over there? Amma said loudly. They were talking loudly, but Amma heard their voice like mumbling. Mumbling means not clear, like a murmur. Okay, so here we can observe her hearing ability also sometimes not proper. And Amma asked them what they were mumbling over there. I heard somebody coming in a car. Who is it? Here she could recognize that somebody has come to their house in a car. Sometimes her memory is good, sometimes her memory is not proper. Okay, then I heard somebody. I refers to Amma, and she questioned her daughter who was come to their house in a car. I told you it's Gopi. Kamala said to her mother that he was Gopi, that she already had told her mother. I refers to Kamala, the elder sister of Gopi. But Gopi is in Delhi, isn't he? Amma asked her daughter whether Gopi was in Delhi. And she remembered her son was in Delhi. That remembrance she got. Yes, Amma, it's me. I have come from Delhi. Again Gopi introduced himself that he was Gopi. He had come from Delhi. Who did Gopi marry? Amma said. See, again she asked who is Gopi's wife. Suddenly lowering her voice. Lowering her voice means speaking very quietly. I mean, what is his wife's name? She asked her daughter what the name of Gopi's wife. Don't say you have forgotten her name too. Too means also. Don't you remember? Who asked her? You refers to Amma. Here, Kamala asked her mother whether she had forgotten her name. Her refers to Vimala, the wife of Gopi. Don't you remember Vimala? The district collector Nambiar's eldest daughter. Who is the district collector eldest daughter here? Vimala, the wife of Gopi. Gopi's sister said to her mother, Vimala is the daughter of the district collector Nambiar's. And oh, I forgot the name. Was there a letter from Gopi today? Again she asked about the letter, whether it was sent to her that day, and she had forgotten. Like this, her memory is not constantly. Sometimes she had some memory, a good memory. Sometimes it is quite sharp. Sometimes it is not sharp. But there was, he writes every day. Yes, there was a letter, he writes every day. Again, Kamala spoke to her mother lies, because to make her mother happy. The happiness gives a good health. But here Gopi speaking, he is explaining some lame excuses why he was not writing letter to her mother. Is it a correct responsibility? Is it a good response that he was not writing letter to his mother for a year? Is it a responsible son to do her mother? We will see what is the actual intention of the son Gopi towards his mother. We will see in the next part of the lesson. Thank you.